Hey, what's going on, guys? Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking out the channel. New Porpoise Pod is coming on out. You guys can go watch that at WQAM's YouTube page. If Solana ever puts it up. Also, you guys could download it on all your podcast platforms. Meanwhile, you guys can watch Tobin and Leroy also on the QAM YouTube page and get it on all your podcast platforms. That would mean a lot to me. Subscribe here. That would mean a lot to me, too. And for all you who have just found me via the search feature, hey, welcome aboard, man. I appreciate you guys checking us on out. So Chris Grier, he spoke today at the NFL Combine on this day that Tyreek Hill was born. Happy birthday to the cheetah. Thank you for having me host your gala earlier this year. I don't know if we're ever going to be welcome back, but I hope that we are because, man, that was a great suit that you had, dude. And also, how about that? Simpatico. Tua and Tyreek Hill, born just a day apart. Wouldn't you know it? Best years of their careers together. Some call that a coincidence. Some don't believe in coincidences, you know? Sometimes the stars align. And in stars, I mean football stars in this case. But speaking of Tua, Chris Grier was asked about the future of Tua, as this was a big topic today. We were walking around. We got out of the building. Here in the building, we have like all the sports networks that are up. And we were walking through. It was like Dolphins Day. I feel like every day is Dolphins Day when it comes to the future of Tua, because it was like, get up, Tua, what do the Dolphins do with his future? Which I get it. Mike McDaniel did speak yesterday, but then they were even doing Lamar Jackson. It was like, should the Dolphins trade for Lamar Jackson? And I will say, it was funny because I get these things all the time, and I've done topics on this channel before, usually like the odds that come out. And the Dolphins are like always, the Dolphins heat, I feel like the reason they always send it to me is that they're like, oh, Miami, they're going to love this. And they're right. But usually it's because Miami's like way up the top of the charts on these things. And this time they were not. Miami was actually a pretty damn long shot to get Lamar Jackson, which I think would surprise a lot of people down here because they would think, oh, if the Dolphins were going to move on from Tua, you would do it for Lamar Jackson. He's a hometown kid. I was talking about this today on the show. I was like, is the only reason that we even fathom this is because Lamar is from down here and he's a great dude from South Florida. Man, that would be a cool story. And if I was going to have anybody not be cool, if Tua was not going to be quarterback next year and you could have anybody be quarterback for the Dolphins, that's realistic. Getting Lamar Jackson would be awesome. I really, really love Lamar Jackson. I love the way he plays. He's electric. I love the way he carries himself. So I get these odds, and the favorite, the Dolphins are not only even not the favorite, they are like the longest shot that they gave me. They said on this, Atlanta Falcons are the favorite at plus 300, who just released Marcus Mariota. Carolina Panthers plus 450. Vegas Raiders plus 500. Ravens to keep him plus 550. Jets 7.5 to 1, Bears plus 750, and the Dolphins are plus 1,200 to get Lamar Jackson. They even put the field, even if you gave the rest of the league the chance to get Lamar Jackson, the odds here said plus 650 for the field to get any other team. They have the Dolphins as twice as unlikely to get Lamar Jackson in their eyes. I found that pretty shocking. I figured that they were going to send me these odds. It was going to be like, hey, check it out again. Dolphins favored to get Lamar Jackson, because they've sent me Dolphins favored to get Saquon Barkley. Dolphins favored to get Dalvin Cook. Dolphins favored to get who the hell cares? Whoever it usually is. It's like Dolphins Heat. These odds they sent them to me. Heat favored to get Trae Young. I think I did a video on that recently. So for them to send me this and basically be like, we don't believe there's any chance the Dolphins get Lamar Jackson, which I think makes sense because the Dolphins don't really have like a heap load of draft picks. They don't have any first round picks this year. I would think that the Ravens, if they wanted to trade Lamar Jackson, they'd want to get to making a pick right away. So the Dolphins can't really help them there. And some listeners today were like, well, what about Christian Wilkins and Tua? I feel like if I was trading a guy of Lamar Jackson's caliber, while yes, it would be good. Like those talks last year with Deshaun Watson, right? It was like, oh, well, the Texans aren't even interested in Tua. I find it highly unlikely that nobody would be interested in Tua anymore. Would the Ravens want to go that direction, or would they want to go in a completely different direction, right? And then there's somebody says, trade Christian Wilkins. Christian Wilkins is going to get a big contract. I feel like if you're going to get Lamar Jackson, you're going to get players back, they need to still be on like their rookie deals. Like the only guys I could see teams looking at equal to picks for getting rid of their franchise quarterback would be like Javon Holland, Jalen. If you told the Dolphin, hey, 2 first-round picks and Javon Holland and Jalen Waddle for Lamar Jackson, I feel like every Dolphin fan is shooting that down. Or JP and Javon Holland for Lamar Jackson and 2 first-round picks, or even an 8 first-round pick. But you have to give up some of those young players. Any of those key 3 guys who are like in either year, they would all be in year 3 of their deal. I don't think anybody's doing it. So to see these odds come back, I kind of get it, because we all talk about this like this is a very this is an option for the Dolphins, and I really don't think it is. I don't think that this option is there for Miami, and the only reason we talk about it is because Lamar is a South Florida native, and it'd be a really cool story. I mean, the guy was called the damn homecoming king by the papers down here for that Thursday night game where Tua actually came off the bench and won. So Chris Grier, getting back to Chris Grier, he spoke at the Combine today and was asked about Tua and whether or not, basically, I don't have the transcript, but I'm reading from one of the papers. It says whether Tua's durability would be a concern in regards to a long-term commitment. And he says, I can't lie and say no, but it's not something that's going to make us wait and do something long-term. The one thing is that he's been banged up, but he always comes back and bounces back and plays hard and performs. We're excited for his future. We're excited for watching him doing all the work that he's been doing this offseason right now to prepare for the 2023 season. He's very excited to get back on the field this year. That's right, dude. He's doing jiu-jitsu. That's what he's doing. He's going to come out here and do anaconda chokes on TJ Watt if he comes near him. That's what's going to be happening, man. A little arm triangle action. All right. If Myles Garrett comes anywhere near him, puts him out. That's what's going to be happening. So here's the thing, man. You see things like the odds that come out for Lamar Jackson, right? And you talk about the way Chris Grier has spoken about Tua, how Mike McDaniel, who I honestly think Mike McDaniel surprisingly was more elusive on this answer than Chris Grier was. I think Chris Grier is pretty forthcoming that they don't seem like this. There's not this dark cloud hanging over Tua that everybody makes it out to be. They committed to him and said that they were committed to him at the end of the year press conference. They have given you no inclination they're going anywhere else. The thing that everybody's crazy about, why haven't they picked up the option yet? Yeah, the Florios of it. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw this Florio Chris Sims thing. Whew, was that cringe? Yeesh. That was, I don't know what the hell is going on there. Let the man wear his clothes, you weirdos. But everybody acts like this thing is like looming over the Dolphins like a guillotine, right? Also a choke Tua could learn in BJJ. And instead, I mean, like, the Dolphins don't have to make a decision on this for 2 months. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there's a little thing called the Combine. They're all out right now, right? And while I am not a draftnik, that is not my bag. This is their job. Like Chris Grier's number one job right now: Senior Bowl, Shrine Game, getting with scouts, learning the college talent. All of this stuff is way more of a priority than giving Tua Tagovailoa a 5th-year option, which is literally just pick it up and it's Dunsky. Like, there's not really anything to, like, it's not, like, sometimes I think people forget that this is a job that has other responsibilities other than worrying about the starting quarterback, who they don't seem to have that much worry about. You know, like, we all act here because he is, I get it. Like, I know this as a content creator, as a talk show host. I know that Tua is a buzz thing that you could go on here and I could do this every offseason and be like, beep, 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 Tua, what do you think? But I think the funny thing about this is like, you know, all right, last year with all the last season, not even this last season, the season before last, all right, you cannot deny the lack of faith in Tua. They went after Deshaun Watson. Hell, they went after Tom Brady again, got busted tampering for it. But since they've hired Mike McDaniel, the whole goal was to get this guy to be good. They got him to be good this year. And the thing that's crazy about it is everybody now is like, well, why don't you go back to the way that it was when you didn't have faith in him? And I'm not saying Dolph fans. I'm talking about like the pundits, the national talking heads. They just look at this and I think the thing that's crazy about it is imagine how pissed people are going to be if Tua goes and has another great year and they didn't pick up the option and that they're going to have to franchise him for like $40 million. Like you could have had him for half the price of that. And let's say you just didn't, let's say even Tua had let's say Tua plays 14 games this year, and you still aren't quite sure if he can get through a season. Not that anybody seems to be able to in this brutal ass sport. But let's just say that's the case, right? And you're sitting here and you're like, well, we either got to extend him or we got to franchise him. And you could have just had him for a pretty reasonable price for quarterbacks around this league. Just seems to me like this is becoming like the most overblown, non-dramatic story in the history of for a franchise that brings a lot of scrutiny, has had a lot of scandals. They seem to be operating at status quo Normalville at a pretty high level right now. And I don't know, man. When I hear Chris Grier's comments, Mike McDaniel loves him. You don't really have these great options that are you're not the Jets where like your first round, your number 2 overall pick was a colossal flop. Yes, of course the Jets have to go get a replacement. Because their pick was a failure. Of course they have to go get a new quarterback. That's not this situation. You're not in the same situation as the Jets. You don't have to worry. You don't have to wait for Aaron Rodgers to come off his ayahuasca darkness retreat. You're not in that position. You're not. You have a quarterback and a coach who are like this, who has great chemistry with his 2-star receivers. You got to tweak some things on the line. You got to think maybe there's going to be an upgrade there at running back. You got to fix your tight end room. But starting quarterback, that is not one of the places the Dolphins seem like they have a lot of issues here. And I don't really even feel like they look at the 5th-year option as that big of an issue too. Listen, if I sit here, if it's May 2nd and they don't pick it up, that'll certainly be definitely an action speak louder than words thing. And I guess we'll have that discussion when we come to it. But I don't know, man. It feels like all directions are that they are going to pick that up and that they do believe in this guy.